Parashat Tzav. Today is Shushan Purim. It's very interesting to point out, before starting the parasha, that Purim, this year is the leap year. Purim was in the Parashat of Tzav, by Tzav. Now, the question is, what's the shaykhut of Purim and the parasha? The parasha that we are learning, what's the connection between Purim and the parasha that we are learning? The parasha basically talks about Qurbanu. Now, what creates the shaykhut, the connection? Very interesting that, the Gemara in Megillah talks about when Vashti didn't come to listen to the king. What did the king do? The Gemara says that king got very upset, and clearly king didn't know what to do with her. Therefore, the king went and called Shiva, in other words, Shiva prime ministers that Ru'e HaMelech, and usually the Melech talks to them. He told them that we have Vashti didn't come to dance. What should we do with Vashti? Now, first of all, why did he have 7 prime ministers or whatever ministers? Because he said that my malchut, my kingdom, should be like the kingdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his designing heavens, he made Shiva Kochvei Lechet, 7 stars that they are the constellation, and they have the mazolot, and they conduct the world in a way, the teva, nature. And he said that my malchut has to be like malchut of Hashem. He had 7 ministers, like Hashem has 7 ministers, that every minister conducts the one day. Now, he comes and he tells them what should we do. Now, the Gemara says, when you notice the pasuk, it says, Akarov Elav, Karshena, Shtar, and these 7s. That's a Keruvim Elav. If there are 7, it should have said Keruvim Elav. It doesn't say Keruvim, it says Karov Elav. No, why they say Karov Elav? The Gemara says, all of these names of these 7 ministers are what Malachi Hasharet are telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Unbelievable. One Malachi Hasharet pleading to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and is telling him, Hashem, what do you want to do? You want to give over the Hal Israel that? No, Haman Harasha, such a wicked king. You want to give over to these people? They're going to destroy this nation. No. The names of these 7 ministers start with Karshena. Karshena. No. The Gemara says that Malach Hashar told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Karshena, Shatar, Tarshish, Amalevit. Kol pasuk hazeh ashu korban ne'emar. All of this pasuk is according to the korban. Karshena, that was the first name of the minister. What does Karshena mean? Amru Malachi Hashar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachi Hashar said in front of Hashem, Ribono shel olam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kelom hikribu lefanecha karim beneshana. No, Karshena, you could read it karim beneshana, means sheep of 1 year. Gahal Israel, every day they bring tamid. 1 sheep in the morning, 1 sheep in the afternoon. He said, what Hashem, what are you doing? Did anybody ever bring for you the karim beneshana, kedere shikribu Israel lefanecha? No, what do you want to do? You want to slay them? Second mistake. Karshena shtar. What's shtar? Kelum yireh lefanecha shtei torim. Shtar, you could say shtei torim. They brought 2 cows in front of us. Kurbano, this bird, 2 doves. Admata, third one. Kelum ban lefanecha mizbeach adama. Did they make for you mizbeach, altar of adama, earthwork? Tarshish. Kelum shemish lefanecha bebigdei kehuna. Did they serve with you bigdei kehuna? Dichti beu Tarshish shram eshva. Bigdei kehuna are 12 stones, and Tarshish refers to one of the stones. Now it's very interesting that Mefarshim said every stone was 1 shevet. Now Tarshish, which shevet was it? Tarshish. Mefarshim said Tarshish was Asher. Now why specifically the stone of Asher? We are denoting, we are representing the Choshen that had 12 stones. How come Asher more than everybody else? Hamim say that was another point of Zechut for Kahal Israel. Because the Gemara says Asher had beautiful daughters. Now what happened to the beautiful daughters of Asher? He adopted them with such a tahara, such a kedusha, that all married to Kohen Gadol and Nesim. Therefore, another point of Zechut for Kahal Israel, that see, what are they doing with beauty? And what Kahal Israel does with beauty? Meres. Meres means steering. Kelum mirsu bedam lefanecha. Anybody stir the dam, the blood in front of you, do this halacha that if the dam congeals, then you cannot bring it for hakrab or misbeyah. You have to stir it, that should not congeal. Marsena means mixing together. Kelum mirsu menachol lefanecha. Now with menachot we have to mix them, water and flour together. Memuchan kelum hechinu shulchan lefanecha. Memuchan means kelum hechinu shulchan lefanecha. Did they set up a table in front of you? Kahal Israel in Mishkan v'tamim dosh set up a table with bread. It's very interesting that Memuchan is Haman, the one that is going to talk. No, what does that mean? What does the Gemara mean? The Gemara means to say there are 7 ministers here, politicians. They have cabinets. They talk. They talk about politics. They are talking about what's the welfare of our country. But who is controlling them? HaKadosh Baruch Hu up there. These 7 ministers are the dialogue of Malachim with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you should do something for this nation. And it's very interesting that therefore that is one point of Korban. Therefore it's very interesting that Malachim at the time of Vashti, if in other words the remedy for Kahal Israel is that Vashti should be killed and Esther should come in. Now the Malachim are pleading to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that should happen. Now Malachim, what type of Zechut Malachim they mention to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The Zechut of Korban. That's one. The other thing is that when Haman goes to get Mordechai, he sees that Mordechai is teaching Torah to the Talmidim. All of the Talmidim ran away from Haman. They were afraid when the king told Haman, go and get the Mordechai and take him around the city. And then Haman came and saw Mordechai was davening. He waited for him. And then told him that, what did you do today? When they had Rosh Betamikdash, no, that day was the second day of Pesach. He said that a day like today, somebody would bring a fist of flour of barley, Omer is barley, and that would get kapara. As soon as Haman heard that, says, a fist of flour, your fist of flour came and pushed away 10,000 silver coins that I gave. In other words, he was saying that in the world we have 3 types of power. One is wealth, one is position, one is soldier weapons. Now Haman and Chashverosh, they had everything. He had the position, Niseu Mikol Ha'adam. He gave him such a high position with Chashverosh. And they had the army of 127 countries, and they are worth 10,000. He said, a fist of flour came and pushed away. Again, what's Zechut? Zechut of Korban. Third, do you know 10,000? What is it? The Chachamim say, what's 10,000? This one is Machzit HaSheker. In other words, all of the Machzit HaSheker that Kahal Israel gave is 10,000. The Midrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Malachim said, Russia. What? You are giving the Machzit HaSheker to destroy Kahal Israel? Kahal Israel preceded their Machzit HaSheker. They gave the Machzit HaSheker already. What's Machzit HaSheker being used for? Machzit being used for Korbanot. It's unbelievable. Everything evolves around Korbanot. Now the question is, therefore that was our question, that what does it have to do with Purim, all of the Parashat? Parashat all talks about Korbanot. It seems that the remedy is in Korbanot. Maharal explains why. Why the remedy of the Kahal Israel is in Korbanot. In other words, somebody could live his life here and keep some mitzvot of Torah, or all mitzvot of Torah, but without connection lemala, without having any connection. What does Korban do? Korban is karev, brings you close. And what does closeness mean? That you become connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What Amalek wanted to do, Amalek wants to disconnect us. Amalek is the son of Esau. You know, the Midrash says that Esau and Yaakov made a deal together. Yaakov gave his Olam Hazeh to Esau, and Esau gave Olam Haba to Yaakov. Therefore, Esau is the ish of Olam Hazeh. Everything is an aspect of Olam Hazeh. Everything is Olam Hazeh. That's Amalek. That's why Amalek cannot bear Kahal Israel, because Kahal Israel is the anti of their existence. They can't understand it. They can't tolerate it. They have to destroy Am Israel. They were like the bathtub that the Gemara says, this bathtub that they jump in. Why do you jump in? You're going to be destroyed. Because anyway, we're going to be destroyed. With the declaration of Am Israel, there is no room for Amalek, because Amalek is all Olam Hazeh, all is Mikri, all is happening. Therefore, they try to nullify Kahal Israel. Therefore, remedy, the zechut of Kahal Israel is Kurban. Connection Lemala. It's not just whatever that's Olam Hazeh, we are connected Lemala. Very interesting also, it says, Haman ben Hagag, Hagagi comes from Gag. Amalek tries to make a sealing. Gag means sealing. To disconnect us from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Gag, Hagagi, Gag. You know, the word of Gag is in the name of the family name. Hagagi. Therefore, they are trying to disconnect us. The Korbanot hopefully connects us. Now, let's go to Parashat. Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Tzav et bnei Israel vet banav lemor. You command Aharon banav like saying, Zot Torah ha'olah. This is the procedure of Olah, that's Torah. He ha'olah al-mukta al-mizbeach. He's the Olah, Korban Olah, burn offering on the mukta, on the fireplace, on the mizbeach. Kol halay v'hada boker. All night till morning, ve'esh ha-mizbeach tuqad bo. And the fire of the mizbeach should be burning in it. Now the Mepharshim say what's the connection. Last week Parasha we learned about Shevet HaGezela. Somebody wants to do the Gezela. He wants to do Teshuvah, Ole. He wants to be Ole. He has to return by the Gezela. That's one Peshat. The other Peshat is that because the last word is the La'ashmaba, incur guilt. It talks about guilt. And it's talking about korbanot are very sensitive and important. If you don't pay attention completely, even a shogeg would be considered ashma, it would be considered guilt. The person has to be very careful with the korban. Now, last week Parasha, we learned about korbanot in a very general term. This week is very interesting. It's repeating the korbanot, goes into detail of it. Last week we learned about Olah, we bring Olah. Now this week we're going to learn that this Olah that we brought, the Torah says, B'yom ha'chribo. The korban has to be done during the day. What does korban mean during the day? During the day has to be shech, and the sprinkling of the blood has to be during the day. But then it comes to burning of the evarim and the whatever that has to be burned, the limbs and the fat, it could be from night till morning. And that's what we learn in the first Mishnah in Brachot, that evarim, really the mitzvah is till morning, but Chacham say till chatzot. Why? That we learned there is here. Now, Tzav et Rashi, El Savilash Lashon Zirut. Whenever that we say Tzav, this is say by Daber, it says Tzav. Tzav is Lashon of Zirut, to awaken. Miyad udorot, right away and for generation. Amar B'Shom Be'ot Yisraeli HaKatuv, L'zarez Makom Sheshmo Chisaron Kiyis. Katuv has to be mezarez us to awaken us, to awaken Kohanim, because there is Chisaron Kis. It means to say that over here, the Kohanim don't gain anything. Because from Olah, they don't gain anything tangible. Therefore, they need more be Zoris and Awaken. Zot Torat HaOlah, Tzav means command. Zot Torat HaOlah, Hari Ayin Yonazeh, Ba Lelamed, Alakter Charabe Barim, Sheikasher Kol Alay Ra, Lavda, Lamed Ala Pistulin, and to Tishran Zibulin, Eize Im Olah Yored, Eize Im Olah Lo Yored. Shechol Torah Erabot Ba, and he would say, whenever the Torah says Torah, he wants to tell us the regulation of something. When it goes up, it comes back, or it doesn't come back. Some of the korbanot, once it goes back, even though that we find the psul, we don't return it back. Some we do. It depends on whether the psul happens in the procedure of the korban, or it was possible even beforehand. If it's a procedure of the korban, when it goes up, we don't put it down. But if it was possible even from the beginning and we didn't realize, then even if it goes up, we have to bring it back. Right? They would put it down, okay? And the Kohen should wear the garment of the linen, and breeches of the linen, means shalvarai, linen katan. He wears it on his goof, on his flesh. There is a new halacha here that shouldn't be any chatzisa. Nothing should be partition between the body and the clothing. The clothing has to be straight on the body. And he should remove separate one ashes. That the fire consumed the olah on the altar. Now, what do you do with that ashes? And you should put it next to the mizbeach. Very interesting. That's called terumat hadeshen. Means that the ashes that was consumed through the korban, there was a mitzvah. That's the first mitzvah starting in the morning. You have to take some ashes from the altar and put it next to the mizbeach. There was a place with hadeshen that they would put, and the avodah starts with this. Now, what's the point of that? We're going to learn that this is not the point of clearing the mizbeach from the ashes, because there is a pile of ashes. Just getting one shovel out and put it with hadeshen, it doesn't accomplish anything. Therefore, the Varshim say that's a mitzvah. That's a mitzvah. The mitzvah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that you should get the ashes of the korban and put it there. Now, we talked about what's the korban, what's the purpose of a korban. We said that the korbanot, in korbanot we bring four things. We bring animal, and we bring plants, and we bring from animate, salt. Now, the idea is that we should bring, and the Adam himself, Adam also brings. Now, when we bring animals, are animalistic characteristics. We have to bring it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Animalistic characteristics we have to bring to Hashem. We have to sacrifice it. That means to say it has to be a departure between animalistic characteristics and the person. Person, let's say that has anger. He says, I have anger from the beginning till the end of my life. I was born like that. This, the depth of the psychology that Torah is putting here is that you should know that this anger doesn't belong here. It belongs on the ash, fire. Fire has to burn it. If today, tomorrow, little by little, my lifetime, this jealousy doesn't belong to me. It's not part of me. I put it on Mizbeach. Right? That's it. And another thing is bird that we brought with last week. The bird is to do melika. They don't do shechita, normal way. They do from the back. Bird is a symbolic of wing and growing. If you want to grow in a normal way of shechita from the front, it doesn't work. What should you do? You have to do derech of melika. What does melika means? From the back. Sometimes you have to come from back door. If somebody says, I don't have time for learning, for the rest of his life he doesn't have time for learning. He doesn't have time to do chesed. He doesn't have time for his children. That person has to do melika. Melika is a very important concept in Judaism. Like the bird wing, if you want to have a wing to grow, you have to do sometimes maneuver things. You have to find out ways, like a bird. And then we bring flour, it's a sign of growth. All the time we have to grow. And salt is animate. Even that animate part that we have to use it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We cannot say that, okay, you know, I am animate is animate, and I'm good in these areas, but I have my own animate. No, we have to do. Now, it's very interesting that ashes are kadosh. A shovel of that ashes you get and put it. It's the ashes. In other words, when you put in fire your jealousy, your animalistic characteristics, and you're gonna burn it, that ashes is kadosh. Torah says special mitzvah to take the ashes and put it in mitzvah. These ashes are kadosh. It's holy. Don't think that you did nothing. No, you burnt that. It's the kadosh. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, bring the ashes from the mizbeach and put it, and that's a mitzvah every day to do. It's not a technicality. No, why do I say it's not a next passage? Because next passage is Parashat Begadav, Rashi Begadim Acharim, and you take off his Begadim and Begadim Acharim, go to the addition Menuchat Samachane, and exit the ashes Menuchat Samachane. That's not a mitzvah. That Rambam doesn't call him Michutz LaMachane. He takes it out of the Machane. What is his technicality? If when you see that there are a lot of pile of ashes, you take it in Makom Tahor. But you can't put it in a, because of the cover of these ashes, you can't put it in a makom that's tameh. It has to be makom tahor. Now, it's interesting, Torah says that you have to change your begadim. Now, Rashi says, in zechuba ela derech eres, shlo yechalchel behutzat hadeshen, begadim shum mishtavish bayin tamid. Begadim mishtavish bayin qedra lerabu, al mishtavish bayin chutz rabu. Gemara promises derech eres. The begadim that the person is mibasher, he cooks, with the same baguette, don't come and serve the drink to your king. You are not, it's not allowed to do that. Person is working at home and the shirt becomes dirty. Not during the Pesach, you are cleaning hopefully you are cleaning the oven and this and that, and your shirt becomes dirty and you have to go for mincha. You run for mincha with the dirty begadim. That's not right. When you come in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to be, Shulchan Aruch says, when a person davens, it has to be as if you are coming to a king. Once Rabbi Gifter Zichron Baruch said, I don't understand why people don't wear tie. Because when you go to a king, you wear a tie. When you come to daven, also maybe you should wear a tie. No, we wear a tie, we don't wear a tie. But the idea is that the person cannot be with his bathing suit and daven and say, davening, saying Shemona Esrei is the closest to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The person has to have a befitting garment to say Shemona Esrei. ולבש בגדים אחרים, פחותין מהן, והוציא את הדשן, הצור בתפוח. Therefore, Rambam doesn't count that the mitzvah, which is clear. Why? Because it's not the mitzvah, it's a technicality. But the first one is the mitzvah, the ashes are Kaddish. And the fire on the mizbeach should burn it, lo tichbe should not be extinguished. The fire should be there all the time. Therefore, if somebody turns off the fire on the mizbeach, pours water on it, or turns it off, it's over a law of lo tichbe. And the Kohen and candle on the Kohen etzim would every morning, they say etzim, that every morning is a mitzvah to bring, and they set on it olah, and they make smoke on it, the chelvei hashlamim, the fats of the korban shlamim. The fire, constant fire that burns on the mizbeach, lo tichbe, should not be taken off. The fire has to be there all the time. Therefore, the Pesukim are saying that we have to have fire on the mizbeach. Therefore, before Shem say on mizbeach, we had 3 arrangements. One arrangement was a big arrangement, ma'aracha gedolah, that on that we burn the korban. There is another arrangement that from that arrangement we take fire for mizbeach, the Torah inside. It's very interesting. All of the fire comes from this mizbeach, hachitzon, not from the inside to outside, from outside to inside. In other words, the fire that burns the ketoret and the fire that we consume for the inside comes from the korban of outside. Why? Because korban of outside is animal. In other words, in Torah, the greatest chashivut of a person is when he could sacrifice his own animalistic characteristics, when his desire. Ravid said, if a person is eating the last piece, if he doesn't eat and leave it, that becomes tani. That's the, a person could, they say that what's the difference between Jews and Goyim? If you have a tray, 4 pieces of cake, and in front of 5 people. A Goy, everybody thinks to say something to grab it. Say, oh, I didn't eat breakfast today, I'm very sorry. But do I have to eat it? I'm preceding because I didn't eat breakfast. Or somebody else, oh, I'm not going to have lunch today, I'm very sorry. But if you put it in front of the Jews, nobody would touch it. Why? Because lest somebody would not have. Everybody cares for other people. That is, the fire that comes inside comes from outside. Why? Because on outside, what do you put? Animals. Inside, what do you put? Ketoret. The zechut of ketoret comes from the burning of the animal. Now, there is a very interesting point that becomes the mitzvah to take ashes. In other words, now Torah is saying like this. The Tamich Dosh, everybody is working. And everybody loves to shech, everybody loves to put the korbanot on the mizbeach. When it comes to ashes, nobody likes to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Now Torah is saying that, don't forget, the real avodah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that the person should be ready to do the korbanot, to do this, as much as that he wants to do that, he should do the ashes. There's no difference. In other words, somebody who is a selfish, self-centered, he wants to do this, he doesn't want to do that. But somebody wants to do Avodat Hashem, everything is Kaddish. Even the ashes are Kaddish. That's called Trumat Hadeshin. My children tell my wife that, they could cook, they bake everything, but cleaning the mess, they wouldn't do it. Somebody else has to clean it. Say, no. If you want to bake, cook, everything, you have to clean the mess also. Cleaning mess is part of it. And that's a very important concept in community. Everybody wants to do the clean job. Nobody wants to do the dirty job. Their job is to ash is the mitzvah, and adarabah, that shows how much a person cares for HaKadosh Baruch Hu and community. Now that we finished with Ola, now we're going to go to Qurban Mincha. Now, we learned about Qurban Mincha last week. Now, this week we're going to learn some detailed point, that this detailed point is going to be that we're going to have a feast that we're doing on the Mizbeach, and the rest of it would be eaten by Kohanim. This is the procedure of the Mincha. The children of Aharon, they bring it to Hashem, and he would separate from it bekomso, with his first fist. When you say fist, really doesn't mean fist. It means 3 fingers like this. 3 fingers like that, and you fill it up. Misolet hamincha, from the fine flour. Solet means fine flour hamincha. Mishamna, from the oil. We would call halevona. And all of the frankincense. And levona is kondur. That had a good smell. Therefore here, by mincha, we have flour, we have oil, and frankincense. Is the Reyach Nechubach Askarata, in other words, that would be Reyach Nechubach, the memorial portion for Hashem. Now, what do we do with the remaining? That's Chidush. What do we do that's left from it? Yochlu Aharon Ubana. Aharon and his children, they're gonna eat. That one was Qurban Olah. Qurban Olah, we burned everything except the skin. There wasn't anything for Kohanim to eat. But this one has something for Kohanim to eat. Matzot to acher. No, first of all, that's why matzot should be eaten Mokom Kadosh. Bechatzar Ohel Moed Yochluha. In other words, it should be matzah, and it has to be eaten in a Mokom of Kadosh, with yard of the Ohel Moed. Lo ta'afe chametz, don't bake chametz. If somebody bakes something that's flour, that's betamid dash chametz, it's over a love. No chametz. In other words, whatever that we live during the Pesach, Kohanim live all year around. Chelqam natati ota, their portion I gave it to them for Kohanim. Kodesh Kodashim, this is the Kodesh Kodashim. Ki chatad v'asham, like chatad v'asham, just like Korban chatad v'asham, Kodesh Kodashim. That's all. Kol zachar bin Aaron yochlena, who eats it? Kol zachar. It's very interesting. Some of the things of Kohanim, everybody eats, men and women. Here Torah says zachar eats it, only male. We're going to see. Chocholam derutechem, that's the one. Mishi Hashem, from the fire burning of Hashem. Kol asher yikabahem yirtosh, and whatever that touches them becomes Kadosh. Here, Kol asher yikabahem Kadosh doesn't mean touching. Here means that let's say they have a Qurban, you have this mincha, whatever. Some of this mincha goes to another food or another thing. Now that thing you have to keep it with the kedusha of this ichdash, becomes Kadosh. If it was possible, everything becomes possible. If it has to be eaten right away, you have to eat right away. You have to conduct yourself with the kedusha of this one. Now it's very interesting, the concept of eating of the Kohanim. Now, why the Torah says the Qurban, we thought that should become the Mizbeach. Why should Kohen eat it? Now we're going to say Chatat. Qurban Chatat that the person brings for his sin that he did, we give to Kohen to eat. And more than that, the Apostle says, Asher Yochal Ba'im Yechupa. Whatever that the Kohanim eat becomes kapara. It's unbelievable. We thought Mizbeach, consumption of the Mizbeach is kapara. Torah tells us we put some on Mizbeach, but the real kapara comes, part of the kapara comes with eating Kohanim. Now why? What's the concept of eating Kohanim? See, every sin that the person does, he indulges himself in gashmi, in materialistic life. Now, what's the remedy? One could read remedy is, becomes murtaza hendi. He doesn't do anything. He takes away gashmi and puts it away. Torah says no. Torah is not interested in that. Torah says Nasir, that makes wine asur on him, he did a sin. What should you do? You shouldn't make wine asur. Hashem created things you have to use. No, unbelievable yesod in Torah. The kapara comes with eating Kohanim. We are allowed to eat, we are allowed to use olam hazeh, but with the kedusha, with tahara, not to indulge ourselves. And that is the greatest avodah that the person could do for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's even greater because in the Tzad Sharim says, we have the Gedorim stages of avodah to go to Techiyat HaMetim. One stage is prishut. You parush yourself from gashmut, you don't use it because you're not capable of using it properly. There is kedusha. Kedusha is one step higher. What's kedusha? When you use gashmut in the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's even one step higher than that. Therefore, it's very interesting in Korbanot, we find achilat mizbeach, achilat adam. Now we're going to go to, Torah talks about that Kohen Gadol and Kohanim that are training, they have to bring a Korban. Kohen Gadol has to bring a Korban every day. Hashem spoke to Moshe. Ze korban Aharon banav asher ravu Hashem. That's the korban of Aharon and his children. Not that they're gonna take his place. Children over here means those Kohen Hedyot. That he wants to become Kohen Hedyot. Just like Kohen Gadol has to bring korban, Kohen Hedyot asher ravu Hashem. When it's anointment of Asir da Ephah Solet, 1/10 of the Ephah Solet means fine flour, mincha tamid, meal offering constantly, mahsita baboger, half in the morning, half in mahsita ba'afternoon, al machvat b'shemen ta'aseh, they gonna fry it on machvat, on pan, b'shemen ta'aseh, with oil, should be made. In other words, they're gonna mix it first with oil, and then murbechet, scalded, means hot water, they boil it. Teviena, they should bring it. Tufine minchat pitim. Tufine comes from afiyah. Tufine means it repeatedly would be baked. Now we're going to explain minchat pitim. They broke it into pieces. They were Kohen Gadol brings korban every day. His korban is very interesting. That usually korbanot is baked or fried, but the korban of the Kohen Gadol that he brings aser da'efa, they are tufine. Repeatedly has to be cooked or baked. Now, Chacham said first, that's 5 processes. First, they mix the flour and water, they mix it, and they make it dough, and then they scald it, boil water, with hot water they boil it, that's second. Third, they're gonna bake it, and then they're gonna fry it in pan. That's why it's called tufine. Tufine means different process of cooking. Now it's very interesting that Kohen Gadol has to bring korban every day, and the korban that he brings has to be cooked and overcooked and cooked and overcooked. In other words, maybe the idea is that something that is halfway cooked doesn't taste good. Something that the more you cook it, the better it gets. Therefore, we want to tell a Kohen Gadol, you are the representative of Kahal Israel. You could do a job, cooked job, but that's not enough. If you could do all types of cooking, you could use all of the elements that it could help out the avodah you should do. Because the better you make it, the better offer for HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. And don't think that, okay, you do your job and go. No, to finish. If you could do this and that, do this and that. You understand? You can't just be yotzezai. Because our issue with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not just be do or do this. Pay your duties. It's a relationship. Relationship, husband and wife, father, parents and children. The more you do, the better you are. Now, Torah tells us Kohen Gadol has to bring a korban every day. Just like the Halistai, they bring korban every day, morning and afternoon. Kohen Gadol has to bring korban morning and afternoon. Now, what's the reason? Why should Kohen Gadol bring korban every day? Now, Mefarshim say different reasons. First of all, because all of the eyes of Kahal Israel is Kohen Gadol, that he should daven and he should do kapara for them. Therefore, he has to be clean. Therefore, he has to bring korban, that he should be careful and he should be clean. Second, everybody has to learn from Kohen Gadol. Just like Kohen Gadol, daily basis, that's the Shuvah morning and afternoon, we have to do Shuvah morning and afternoon. Third, in other words, the korban that he brings is the Asir Defa, is the korban of the Ani. No, he brings korban every day that everybody should learn from him, even Panim, that bring Asir Defa, he shouldn't say, you know, we're Ani, he said, Kohen Gadol also brings the same korban. Don't be embarrassed. No, Asir Defa sometimes brought for the Chatat. Somebody did sin, he brings it. No, we want to say Kohen Gadol also brings it, therefore don't feel bad that you are bringing, even Kohen Gadol brings. That other things that he has to become humble. Every day bring korban of Ani, say, you know, don't think that you are a king or this. You bring the Ani, you know, you are an Ani, to humble him. Now, another idea that Kohen Gadol has to bring korban to make Kahal Israel understand that when we say the remaining of the korbanot or the flour Kohanim should eat, it's not just to fill up their stomach. It's an avodah. Just like he brings everything, and when he brings the korban, everything has to be burned. Now, seventh reason I like it, to give hodah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kohen Gadol is at such a position. You are such a member of Kahal Israel to bring atonement for all Kahal Israel, you were chosen, give Hodah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Give Hodah Shah morning, afternoon. Person Baruch Hashem has a good family, has a job, has things, has to give Hodah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Can't go one day by not to give Hodah. Now, the last one is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that we have two types of Korbanot. Korban Tzibur, every day, daily basis, and Korban Yachid. Who is should Korban Yachid should bring? The Kohen Gadol, the representative of everybody. Now, what's the idea to bring Korban Tzibur and Korban Yachid? Because Judaism is a very interesting religion. Some religions are based on the multitude of people. That's most important. Yechidim are not important. Some say that Yechidim are important. Single people, right? Individuals, but not the pile. Torah says we have to have both. The pile of people, Sibur is important, and every Yachid also is important. Because at the end of the day, every Yachid and Yachid makes the Sibur. Tzav bechol minchat kohen kalil tiyeh lo ta'achir. All of the mincha kohen kalil, all should go on the mizbeach, lo ta'achir, should not be eaten. In other words, we don't say some of it Kohanim themselves should eat. No, why? Because it's not good that the Kohen should bring the korban of himself and they should eat themselves. And the other thing is that they should fill it. In other words, Bishlama, if the Kahal Yisrael they bring, the Kohanim eat and would be mechaper. But here we need a higher rank for Kohanim. What would that be? That achilat misbeach. Therefore, whenever that the Kohen brings something, mincha, all mincha would be put in fire on the misbeach. Now we're going to go to Torah Chatat. We talked about Chatat in last week parasha, now more details. Saying to the Avraham and his children, so Torah Chatat. This is the procedure of Chatat. In the place that you shech te'olah, shechet Chatat. In front of Hashem, it's the holiest of holiest. Now, why b'makom olah? Very interesting point. It's something that Torah emphasizes and emphasizes and emphasizes. Don't embarrass other people. Don't put a special place for Chatat. That they would say, oh, he's bringing Chatat. No, Olah and Chatat are the same place. Therefore, when it is on the line, nobody knows. Did he come for Olah or come for Chatat? Don't put the person in a position to be embarrassed. This is a very important point. Torah is repeating this all over. And a lot of times we are not careful. The way that we talk, the way that we introduce people, the way that we know somebody, know something, we have to be sensitive. Therefore, this sensitivity is Torah. It's Kodesh HaKodashim. It's Kodesh HaKodashim. Now, who eats it? The Kohen HaMechat Teotah, the Kohen that brings the Chatat, Yochlena, he would eat it. Now, Rashi says it doesn't mean exclusively. Every Kohen could eat it. But here means that Kohanim that are not raw is being excluded. B'makom kadosh ta'achel, in the holy place would be, b'chatzar ohel mo'et, kol asher yigia b'sara, whatever that touch b'sara yichash, again, yigia here, touch doesn't mean like regular place touching, like touching. Means if some part of the chatat goes to another korban, or another food, that food becomes kadosh. We have to deal with that food like chatat. Now, what about if some blood of this chatat would be sprinkled on a beged, on a garment? That was sprinkled on it. Now, what should we do? This blood is kadosh, and more than that, the orban of the korbanot that has a set time. If the time goes over, then it becomes notar. We cannot allow to let it become notar. Now, if you have a blood in the clothing, what should you do? We're going to wash it before it becomes notar. We're going to wash that garment b'makom kadosh. Therefore, from here we learn kebisa on Shabbat means that something that's inside to take it out. Now, it's very interesting. Your dishes you could wash, but your garment cannot wash. What's the difference between your dish and garment on Shabbat? Because we learn from here techabes b'makom kadosh. What kibis means here? You have to take what blood? The blood. Where is the blood? Inside of the garment. The blood that went inside of the garment, you have to take it out. From here, we learn kibbutz is when the germ is inside to take it out. It's that if there is a stain on your garment, whatever that's on the top, you could just remove it. Or you could add a shemata, you could get a piece of cloth and remove it.
Is it Shabbat?
But yes, but whatever that's inside, you cannot wash it to take it out. So from here, we learn that. No, the keli cheres at the shvalba. Now, what about if you have earthenware and we cooked inside? Now it's close to Pesach. We have to learn some Ilchot Pesach also. Now what should we do? The korban is inside, and the korban is becoming notar, and our keli is keli cheres. What should we do? Torah says Ishaver. Where do we break it? It should be broken. Where? In Makom Kadosh. Why? Because the korban is inside. Now the Mefarshim said if they had if they had to break all of the vessels, earthenware vessels, the Beit HaMikdash would be full of it. But the nest, there was 18 nests happened in Beit HaMikdash. One of the nests was that the land, the earth, would swallow this earthenware, broken earthenware. Now, what about if they cooked it in a copper vessel? It was cooked. Now, what you do? Morag. What does morag means? Purging. We purge it. We purge it with hot water. Now, we take out the korban inside. They will be learning the halakha of hagala from here. In other words, if it is keli cheres, you cannot make hagala. But if it is a vessel of the metal or it's a copper, good, we should have a mind and should be washed with water. There were a lot of times Parashat Tzav is right before Pesach, becomes very handy the Hilchot of Hagar. All of the Zachar eats it, Chodesh Chodashim. In other words, Teruma, everybody eats from Kohanim, women, daughters. But this one Zachar, why? Because there is a difference between what Kohen eats. Teruma, it's been given for the family. It's the reward for whatever that they're doing. Here is not the reward for the thing. What is it? It's the kapara. Who does the kapara? Whoever does the korban. Because we want to point out, this achila is not a normal achila. It's achila just like this zachar has to bring on the mizbeach, this zachar has to eat it. Because achilat mizbeach, achilat adam, there's no difference. Just like achilat adam is sacred, it's kadosh, achilat adam also is kadosh. And we said, that denotes to the person that they did sin, we are not against gashmut and materialistic. The way that was used was not right. The Kohen will teach you that eating should be done with the proper manner, proper kavanah, and adrabah. That creates more kedusha. V'chol chatot asher yu b'avidama, and all of the chatot asher yu b'avidama el ohel moed, all of the chatot asher no. Now the pastor is saying like this. We have two types of chatat. One type of chatat that the Kohen Mashiach or Sanhedrin did sin, we put the blood in Mizbeach Penimi, inside. Why? Because the damage was done inside of Kahal Israel. Because the Kohen Mashiach and Sanhedrin sin. But if Nasi, leader, does sin, or a regular person, the blood is Mizbeach Chitzon, because that has to do with the outer part of Kahal Israel. Now the pastor is saying that if you have to put the blood inside and you put the blood outside, then it's not accepted as a korban. Rashi Chav Gimel v'chol chatot sheim yichnis midam chatot hachitzona lifnim pesula. If it brings the dam of the chitzona inside, becomes pasul. Therefore, the pastor says v'chol chatot asher yuva midama from this blood brought el ohel moed or el moed lechal v'kodesh lo ta'acher ba'esh tisareh. It has to be burned. Very good. We finished with chatot. Now we're going to Asham. Now, this is very interesting that Sefer Vayikra talks about relationship. Any relationship that could be rectified if there is this mistake is a good relationship. But somebody, husband and wife, they go to a relationship, you shouldn't make any mistakes. Nothing should happen. Or the expectation is like, that's not the relationship. So that's why Torah talks about Chatat, and now we talk about Asham. We saw Torah Asham, Kodesh Kodashim Hu. That's the procedure of Asham, Kodesh Kodashim. Now we said Chatat is Kodesh Kodashim, Asham is Kodesh Kodashim. But Shalomim is not Kodesh Kodashim, Kodashim Kalim. It's the light Kodesh. Unbelievable. It should be just the opposite. Shlomim, that person doesn't bring for sin, he just donates and brings. That should be Kodesh HaKodashim. But the Korban, Chatat and Asham, a person brings only for a sin. That has to be light Kodesh. But the Pasuk says not like that. The Pasuk says Chatat and Asham are Kodesh HaKodashim. Now Mefarshim say, why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to say, the one that he sins and brings Korban, that Korban that is doing Teshuvah is much higher level than somebody just donates and brings a Shlomim. Those Korbanot, that Chatat and Asham, is Kodesh HaKodashim for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Other one is the light Kodesh. Again, in the place that Asham, again, Asham by Ola, why? You shouldn't be embarrassed because Asham is a guilt offering Korban, as somebody who's the sin. ודמו יזרוק על המזבח, הנזבלות should be on המזבח סביב, around. ואת כל חלבו, now, what are the evarim that we bring? First of all, chatat is for any sin that if it's that by purpose has cut it, and when we say it's cut it by shogis chatat. One is asham me'ila, if somebody eats kochim or uses kochim by mistake. Then asham talui, if somebody did something that chatat, or he has to bring korban chatat, but is mesupak that he did it or not. He brings talui. Talui means hanging. Till he would find out, he brings asham talui. Then we have asham gesela, if somebody stole and he swear wrong. Like we say in the morning, we say in the korban, asham gesela. Then we have asham mitzorah, that the mitzorah brings asham, and asham nasir. 5 ashamim. That's the 5 asham. Now, what are the evarim limbs that bring as a korban? When we that during the korban, usually we bring these things. Now, what's the pshat and why do we bring only these things? We said in English we have in fat, but in Hebrew we have 2 words for fat. One is halef, pi. The other one is shuman, charbi. ما پی داریم با چربی داریم. چربی متاره میشه بخورن. پی آسور. P is called خله. That خله, that's آسور we bring on Mizbeach also. کل خلقو یغرمنو. Now what's the difference between خله and shuman? Come say there are 3 differences. Tikkun, top to top. Chelev is like a simla, like a garment around the meat. Shuman is inside of the meat, goes with inside. Now, that's around the meat means that chelev and fat is symbolic of ulama, it's materialistic. Somebody who uses materialistic for the sake of materialistic is around the meat. It's not good, it's not kosher. But somebody uses fat in the meat itself, it goes with the meat to enhance the meat, to give strength to the meat. That's kadosh, that's good, shuman is good. Now, what brings on the mizbeach is chelev to symbolize that we should bring our fat. Our fat, our chelev is our desires, laws, or things that's not in according with the Torah. Aliyah, the tail also is full of fat. The tail is not asur. The aliyah of the tail is shuman and mutar, even that we bring on mizbeach. And the fat that covers the innards, shekambe, which the akilayot and the kolliyet kidneys, with the and the fat that's on them, on the flanks. Kisalim is basan, balay basan, with hayoter al-hakabet. Yoter al-hakabet is diaphragm, al-hakabet with the liver. Diaphragm also we bring as on the mizbeach. We say diaphragm is the curtain that differentiates between breathing system and digesting system, and that differentiation is very important in life, because a lot of sins we do because we don't differentiate things from each other. That curtain that the job is to differentiate, we bring as a korban to signify that you have to correct yourself. You have to understand differentiation. In other words, you are in a shul, somebody says that in a shul, he says a joke to his friend and he laughs. He doesn't differentiate that the shul is not a party place. It's not a party place. It's not some place that you just took around. You just do not say, Makom Kadosh, it's a Kedusha, it's a Tahara. Somebody on Rosh Hashanah, night of Rosh Hashanah, he feels it's a socializing time. He wants to socialize and they make parties. On Leila of Rosh Hashanah, we don't do these things. Rosh Hashanah is a more serious day, more serious night. When I lived in New York for a while, I learned, I was in yeshiva, Tuesday night, we made a Midrash with people. I told them I learned with you. What did I learn? I learned Kiddushin with them. Why did I learn Kiddushin? But I'm talking about a long time ago. That's how a wedding happened and was mixed dancing. I proved to those people that I learned Kiddushin with that even if you go to a party, mixed dancing, your wedding should not be mixed dancing. Why? Because wedding is different than the party. Wedding is not a party. Wedding is a time that you bring the Shekhinah. Wedding is a time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there. And wedding is a time that you need HaKadosh Baruch Hu the most. You are starting your life.
Definitely.
You want Zechutim.
Definitely.
Therefore, they got convinced through learning Masechet Kiddushin that, it's a Kiddusha. Now he says, because they were telling me, we go to mixed dancing anyway, we do mixed dancing anyway. I was trying to explain to them this differentiation in life is very important. On the kidneys should remove them, and he should smoke them. All of the meal of the eat b'makom kadosh. Again, it has to be eaten b'makom kadosh. Chodesh kadashim hu. Kechatot b'chasham, like chatot kasham. Torah achalan to kakohen asher chapepo lo yeh. The one who does the kapara is for him to exclude the kohanim that are not raui. Now, here Torah says all of the male should eat it. That's the chatot that bring. Now, why do we bring kidneys? We bring kidneys because the Chazal tells us kidneys gives us advices. Now why? Because kidneys in the body, they purify the blood. What's the advice? Purification of the ideas. When somebody's confused, why is he confused? Because the ideas are mixed up in his mind, he cannot differentiate what's more important than the other one, what's more important. And that is Etzah. That also gave him bad Etzah to do sin. That's why it would be brought on the Mizbeach. And the Kohen that brings the oil of the person, or no, everything is burnt except the oil. Now who gets the oil? The skin of the oil that he brings, La Kohen lo yeh. La Kohen, it should be for him. Doesn't mean that's only for him because the Diran says every Sochar could get it. Now Rashi explains that it means to say that it's excluding those that are not raw. Now, b'chol mincha asher ta'afe b'tanur, all of the mincha that bakes in the tanur, b'chol na'asah marcheshet, and whatever that was done in the deep pan. We had deep pan and shallow pan. Marcheshet, it was a deep pan with the deep amount of oil, and we had pan with the little bit oil. La kohen amach should be for him that brings it, lo tiyeh, should be for him. Therefore, this pastor says the kohen that brings it, this is for him. B'chol mincha be'ulav hashemen, or mincha be'ulav hashemen that mixed with shemen, v'chareva. And chareva means dry. Minchat chote u'minchat gnaot, she says. Shein ba shemen. In other words, mincha ve'chote sins and minchat of gnaot, we don't put oil inside because oil is the symbolic of clarity, shyness and good, and that's not good. Soto. La kohen b'nei Aharon tiyeh ish k'achiv. For b'nei Aharon ish k'achiv. For all b'nei Aharon ish k'achiv. Now one pasuk says that everything that brings for the kohen who brings it. The other pasuk says it's for kohanim b'nei Aharon. Now what is it? Now the Hashem says that kohanim, there were 24 mishmar of kohanim. Every week, one mishmar worked. And every mishmar had 6 families, it's called bet of. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, till Friday. Shabbat, everybody worked together. Now, every day, whoever worked, whatever that he worked, whatever that they got, they would divide it bet of for that family. And on Shabbat, everybody worked together, and they would divide everything together. Therefore, that was the way. Now, even though the korban that they bring belongs to all of the Kohanim, how could we give this family and exclude the other family? They would be mochel to each other. Now, collectively, it belongs to all of them. Now, how should we do? We can't give one to all Kohanim. What do? We made them into weeks. Now, this week, one Kohen says, oh, why? I don't want you to give. No. All of the Kohanim, they will be mochel to each other, and that's a system that they made it from the beginning of the Bet HaMikdash, and that's the way that worked out. Now we're going to go to Shlamim. We talked about Chatat, now we're going to Shlamim. Zot Torat Zevach HaShlamim. This is the procedure of the Zevach sacrifice of Shlamim. It's very interesting. When it goes to Shlamim, he doesn't call it Korban, it's called it Zevach. Because Zevach means sacrifice, Zevach means like Pesach, Zevach Mishpachahi. That's a type of Korban that appeases everybody. It puts together the Baalim, Kohanim, and Mizbeach. Now, Shlamim could be for different occasions. One occasion of Shlamim is Korban Todah. Korban Todah is one of the most important korbanot that we bring. One of the medicine is Mole Todah that say after Baruch Shamar. The Midrash says all of the Mismorim becomes batel except Mismor Todah. Why? Because of the Todah means appreciation, to be grateful. This concept exists all the time. No matter what mitzvah becomes batel, what mitzvah doesn't become batel, always, all of the Olam Haba also is appreciating what Hashem is doing for a person. This mitzvah of appreciation and being grateful is the mitzvah Elyonah. It's the mitzvah Elyonah. In other words, the Gedolei Israel, they went out of their ways in many different ways to be grateful to other people. You know, old lady of 90-year-old who walked for a bar mitzvah of a 13-year-old long walk on Shabbat, and he had to rest, and took him 2 hours. They asked him why. Why do that? Because his grandfather in concentration camp, one day he gave me a piece of bread. Because of that, I have to be grateful to him. Or this helped me here, he helped him there. Therefore, whenever that you get help from somebody, it's very important to know, to have the feelings of gratitude, to appreciate and not to go against him. Even though Hakadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu go and fight with Midian, Hashem told him directly, you should do it, but Moshe Rabbeinu understood that he should not do it. What do you mean? Hashem tells you go and fight. You say Hashem doesn't mean? He said no, Hashem cannot mean that I should do it. Why? Because I have to be grateful to Midian. I grew up there. Hashem cannot tell me go and fight. He sent somebody else. Even though that every mitzvah he was the one to do, first one to do, here he didn't do it himself. But Hashem told him, you, Neqom Ni'mat Yisrael min Abinyanim. Hashem spoke to him and directed him. But he says Hashem cannot mean that. That's a great lesson, to have gratitude. Somebody helped you, somebody in the family, yeshiva, anything in your life. You have to make a list of those people that they helped you in life. The yeshiva that I was, the family that I came from out from Iran, they helped me. All of this, a person should find out and to have gratitude toward them. Now, if he brings shlomim al todah, thanksgiving offering, he shall bring. In other words, it doesn't have to be thanksgiving. Don't drive wrong way. He should bring on the zebach of the todah, that the shlomim that he brings, chalot matzot belod hashemen, urugei matzot beshuchim beshemen, v'storet murbechet chalot belod hashemen. He brings 3 types of bread that they are not chametz. Chalot matzot, first of all, chalot matzot belod, thick matzah mixed with oil, then wafer matzah, thick matzah that smeared with oil. One is mixed, one is smeared, and solet murbechet. And then he brings flour that murbechet means scalded. Means it was boiled in hot water. Halot belod hashemen, all belod hashemen, all were matzah. 4th one, al halot lechem chametz. No, this were matzah, al halot lechem chametz, on halot of lechem chametz. The only exception that we find in Torah, we'll just learn that all of the bread, all of the meal offering that you bring should be matzah. The only time that we find is Korban Todah and on Shavuot. The lechem is chametz. Now, Yachle Korban al Zebach Todah Shlemav. He should bring Korban al Zebach Todah Shlemav. They will bring from each one 10. 4 10 is 40. He has to bring 40 loaf of bread, piece of bread, and the Korban Shlomim that he brings. In other words, he has to bring cow and. Now, the Torah is telling us what's the symbolic. So I say the best offering that you could bring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is to sacrifice your animalistic characteristics. That's shalom. You have to sacrifice it. You have to bring shalom between people. Shalom. And the other thing is, chalot is one from flour. Flour that you bring, flour is a sign of growth. You have to grow. What does Hashem want from you? Growth. That is the greatest Torah that you bring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, why did Torah say that chametz should not be brought and Torah you could? What's the pshat of that? Rambam says that why don't they bring chametz in Mizbeach? On chametz in Beit HaMikdash? Rambam says because over the Avodah Zarah they used to bring chametz. They used to bring chametz. That's why Torah says don't bring chametz. No, the question is why did over the Avodah Zarah bring chametz? In other words, when you look at chametz, chametz is handmade or chametz is naturally in nature. Chametz naturally is not in nature. In other words, the plant doesn't grow chametz. Chametz is not naturally there. Chametz is handmade. You have to get flour and mix it with water, and both together becomes chametz. Chametz is not natural. It's handmade. Therefore, all of the idea of Avodah Zarah is business day. I take to Avodah Zarah something that I worked for it. Why? Because I'm expecting Avodah Zarah to work for me. You better take care of me. See what did I do? I didn't bring something natural. I didn't pick some apple and bring it for you. I didn't pick some olives and bring it for you. I brought chametz. Chametz doesn't exist in nature. It's a symbolic. I work for you. I'm a good eved of you. You better take care of me. Hashem says, I don't want that added to my Bet HaMikdash. My Bet HaMikdash is relationship. Not you do this, I do that. And by the way, we learn what's a Shalom Bayit. The Shalom Bayit that's based on business deal is not Shalom Bayit. It cannot be Shalom Bayit. And it doesn't happen in Shalom Bayit. Shalom Bayit is the relationship. Relationship means it doesn't matter what I do, what you do. There's a harmonious of doing together, sharing together. And that's why on Pesach we don't eat chametz. Because Pesach is the conception of Chal Yisrael. Chal Yisrael becomes Chal Yisrael. In the foundation of making Chal Yisrael, again we go back to the idea of a Tamir. It's not a business deal. That's like the anniversary of somebody celebrates anniversary on the basis of the marriage. Basis of the marriage, HaKadosh Baruch Hu with us was not a business deal. Was very pure matzah, not the chametz. The same thing we do. Now by Todah, one of them is chametz. Now why is it chametz by Todah? It's very simple. Because why did you bring Todah? Because Hashem did something to you. You want to be thankful. Then what do? It's handmade. Because I want to be thankful to you. In this, I want to be thankful to you. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to explain why Shavuot we bring chametz. No. It's going to be Machlev Echad Korban Teruma LaHashem LaKohen Azoret Adam Hashlamim Loyeh. So we will bring from 10:1 for Kohen, and we're going to give it to Kohen, and the rest is for the Baalim. In other words, by Korban Shlamim, only the Korban we bring, but the Chalot we don't bring on Mizbeach. Very interesting. And the flesh of the Zevach Todat Shalamav, the sacrifice Todat Shalamav, Bayom Korbano Yachel, on the day that the Korban should be eaten, you should not leave it at Boker, you should not leave it at Boker from Tiborger. Allah. Now that was Todah. Now if a person wants to Mishlamim, Neder as a vow, or Nedava free will offering, Zevach Korbano Nazb Bokone, Ya Sekhavat Bokone. Zevach Korbano, Bayom Hakribo Zivcho Yachel, in the day that he brings it, Humacharot. In other words, the Korban Todah, the time of eating, is only 1 day and 1 night. But if it is Neder and Dava, we have 2 days and 1 night. Zivcho Yachel Humacharot tomorrow, remaining from that, you could eat it. On the 3rd day, you should burn it. Now, what's the idea of the burning? Because every Korban is the food of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you don't want it to be food of Hashem, you just bring it and eat it. Why to bring it as a Korban and you eat it? You want to signify that you're eating from Hashem. No, it's not Kabod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you should bring Korban. In other words, a lot of times, the big companies that they make things, some of them it's a little bit problem. They don't sell it. Why? They sell it very cheap. You buy it on discount stores. No, why? Because they say on brand name cannot carry something like this. On brand name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we cannot carry a meat that's not fresh, that's not good. Therefore, all of the korbanot has time. Therefore, Torah says, after that, what should you do? You should burn it. Chinuch. Listen to Chinuch. Unbelievable Chinuch. Chinuch says, what do we learn from it? Good. That's what it's saying. What do we learn from it? Chinuch says, from here, we learn that we have to have bitachon. We have to have bitachon. A lot of times, the person has good stuff, he doesn't want to use it. He says for tomorrow, for next week, for this. Torah says no. If you leave it, you have to burn it. Use it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the bracha, blessing to you. Use it. You don't have to leave it for tomorrow, next week. What happens? You have to have bitachon in life. You know, you have a need, use the whatever that you have to use. Tomorrow. Now, there's a machlok of Bet Shammai Bet Hillel that Bet Shammai says, whatever that you find during the week, you put it for Shabbat. Sunday you find something nice, you put it for Shabbat. Monday you Shabbat. But Bet Hillel mito acheret yeshbo. Bet Hillel Sunday he found a very nice cookie, he ate. Monday he found a nice fruit, he ate. They tell him, what are you eating? What do you need for Shabbat? He says, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. Blessed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every day has me'en otoyom, the bracha of that day. The Friday has its own bracha. Friday has its own bracha. They were better. Now halacha, how do we paskin? Paskin like Bet Shammai. We cannot practice Bet Hillel. We don't have the bitach. Now everybody says, why didn't Bet Shammai do like Bet Hillel? It's a very nice life. Bet Shammai had to suffer. He found a good fruit on Sunday. Imagine he had to wait from Sunday to Shabbat. Why do you have to do that? Go like Bet Hillel and free yourself. No, going like Bet Hillel is the attitude of life. It's not only for this. You have to have that bitachon in your life. Now, Bet Shammai didn't have that bitachon of Bet Hillel. Therefore, he couldn't just practice it. Like, that's a monkey business, you cannot work. It has to be real bitachon. Of course, I'm talking about bitachon for things that they're luxury, but bitachon of not doing, not doing an avera and be b'toyach b'hakadosh baruch hu. Everybody has to have this bitachon because that's a part of the nature of Torah.
So have balance between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel.
Right. No, we're passing like Bet Shammai here. If you find something nice for
Only
Shabbat,
pertaining to Shabbat or
Yeah.
just in
Almost everything else is Bet Hillel.
because if you do that, then there's no bitachon.
no, we have to have bitachon. No, it's talking about very specific bitachon. In other words, here the food is there. Now there's a mitzvah. In other words, you have balance of losing a mitzvah. Understand? You have a mitzvah of being mechabed Shabbat. Now, if you have a bitachon, but if you don't have bitachon, you must have a mitzvah also. Here you lose. But other places we have bitachon to Shabbat. Here we don't lose the mitzvah because it's very easy to convince yourself that you have to bitachon because you want to eat the fruit. Really, but there is no that much bitachon here. ואם האכול יאכל מבשר הזבח של עמו ביום השישי, no. If a person eats בשר שלמה ביום on the third day, לא ירצה, should not be accepted. המחליבתו לא יחשב לו פיגול הוא. The one who brings it would not be considered for him. It's rejected b'hanefesh. No, the Torah is saying like this. Very interesting idea of pigul. Pigul means when you bring the korban and you shecht it, you have to have the right mind. You have a right mind where to eat it and when to eat it. Now, when you bring a korban, if you don't have a right mind where to eat it or when to eat it, that's pigul. That's called pigul. V'hanefesh ha'ochel nimeno avonot isa. And someone who eats that avonot isa. And another place says that he gets karet for eating. In other words, there's a big difference between if he has a machshava out of the zaman or out of the makom. Out of the makom is just a punishment. Out of the zaman is karet. Now, Rav Shimon Raphael Hirsch explains that why by zaman we are more chamur than makom, because zaman is more crucial. Because if you don't coordinate the zaman of the korbanot, means you are not sensitive to the zaman of Torah. The man of things, and that is more crucial part in Torah. That's why it's greater punishment. And the basar that touches Ram lo yachel, ba'esh yisrael shobred, v'abasar kol tahor yochal kodesh, and whoever is tahor it is basar. V'anevesh tochal basar mitzvach shlamim, and if somebody eats basar shlamim, ashir Hashem, v'tumato alav, and is tameh, the person is tameh, somebody who is tameh and is kochim, he gets karet. So whenever shkitik yabechol tameh, v'tumat adam. The person that becomes tameh bechol tumat adam, he touches the corpse, or he touches the person that's tameh, or behematema, or any behemat that's tameh. Another behematema, which behemah is tameh? First of all, it has to be dead, should be kosher or not kosher. Dead bodies are metameh, nevela, or bechol shechetz tameh, or bechol shechetz tameh. What does shechetz tameh mean? Every shechetz is tameh. No, it doesn't mean tameh mitzat achila. Shechetz that's metameh makes you not be purified. That makes you tameh, contaminated. Now, what's that? There are shemona shiratzim, 8 shiratzim, that besides that they are asur to be eaten, there are metameh people, also dead body. Everything that they are talking about, animals, to be metameh somebody has to be dead. Alive, only Adam alive is metameh somebody else. But the behemah and sheres, and eats Hashem, he gets carried. But Hashem Moshe lemor. Israel lemor. Kol chelev shor bekes. Now we're going to come to the halach of chelev. Chelev means that type of shuman, fat, such fat, shuman, fat that you growing on the mizbeach. Now Torah says kol chelev shor bekes, chelev of cow, sheep, and goat lo tochelu. The chelev is also only behemat tehora. Chaya is mutar, of also is mutar. Only behemat Torah. Now bechelev rav chelev terfa yastel lechol melacha. You should be done every melacha, but you cannot eat it. Whoever eats from chelev, now he explains the reason. Why chelev is also because we bring as a korban, therefore now Mefarshim say, what's the issue of chelev? Why Torah says chelev asur? First of all, chelev is also because you bring on mizbeach. But there are a lot of things that you bring on mizbeach, and it's called kidneys. You bring on the mizbeach and smutar. Therefore, we need a better reason for that. The better reason for that is, as we said, chelev is a symbolic of those taivodan laws. that they bring on Mizbeach. Therefore, we don't want the person should be accustomed to that. That should be left for the. Now, why Chaya is mutar and bird is mutar? Some Mekubalim say a very interesting point here from the pasuk. There is something very interesting. They say that the Gilgul is only on Behema. As in this in short case, as since it becomes the Gilgul of Adam, and that it could be Gilgul of Adam, and that part comes on the Mizbeach both together, that makes it also. Therefore, they say that only Gilgul is, that's why the Chelev Chaya and Chelev Of is mutar, because only the Gilgul of a person goes to these three types: sheep, cow, and goat. Now we're going to come to dam. Now dam, blood doesn't make difference. Everything is also except dagim, hagavim, and grasshoppers that are mutar. But the blood of chelev is only behema teora. But dam again also, why dam is also kone v'shashet tochal kol dam, that gets cut. Such a great punishment. Therefore, these things that some people, they have sometimes, they bring somebody to shecht an animal, a cow at home or sheep at home, and they eat, they could be over a lot of isurim. It has to be stopped. Now, why blood should not be eaten? First of all, blood is on Mizbeach. And blood is everything is asur, because blood you cannot differentiate between blood of the behemah and chaya, but chelev you could. And the other thing is that Torah says nefesh hu dam, because really the soul of a person is dam. If you take away too much dam of a person dies. So that carries the soul of a person. Now Ramban says it's not kedai, it's not proper that the nefesh should eat nefesh. Somebody brings the Levach Shalamav LaHashem for Hashem, Yavi Korban LaHashem, he has to bring his Korban for Hashem, Mitzvah Shalamav, from Shalamav, Yadav Teviena, he should bring it himself. Et Ishe Hashem, et Hachelev al Hachaseh Yaviena, he should bring fat with on the chazeh, on the breast, he should bring it. Now that he brings Chelev on the chazeh, et Hachaseh, no, the chazeh, the breast, he should bring it to shave it in front of Hashem. And the Kohen would smoke the chelev and the mizbeach, and the priest would be for Aharon and his children. And the right thigh, titenu teruma lekohen, would give teruma to Kohen, mizbeach Hashem lechem, na'oleh lechem, hamach levet dam hashramim. Somebody brings the dam hashramim v'tachelev v'bnei Aaron, lo tiyeh shu'er. I mean, the right thigh should be for him a portion. Because the priest of the waving and the right thigh is the raising up, is the teruma, is a gift. I took from Israel, from the Zevach of the Shlamim, and I gave that to Aharon HaKohen, Banav leHogram, met Ben Israel from Israel. Zot Mishra, that's the atonement of Aharon and atonement of his children from fire offering. Hashem, they should be minister for Hashem, and that Hashem commanded the Torah to give them when I told them with Israel. That's a chok for all generations. This is Torah. This is a procedure for Olah, Mincha, Chata, Dersham, Elohim, and training, and Zevach Shlamim. That Hashem commanded Behar Sinai, Yom Sabatot, when commanded Achlet Korbanehem, that Hashem Bemidbar Sinai.
The tie doesn't mix.
No. Therefore, Torah is saying that by Shalomim, right thigh and the breast, you should give it to Kohen. Now, the Farshim say, why these two? Why these two? Now, the Shalomim is the Korban, that some part of the bring on the Mizbeach, some part Kohen gets it, so that brings peace between it, unity. That's Shalomim. That's something that the unity is very good. Now, the Farshim say that all of the movement comes from Regel and in the all Adam and animal. All of the movement comes from what? Comes from the feet, shock, and it comes from breast. Because those that have shock, they say nachash. For those, they go on their belly, on their breast. Therefore, these two that makes all of the movement, we want to signify that all of the movements are from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, Shlamim, we thank Hashem and we bring that for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we're going to talk about From here then we're going to talk about, no, that is, Rashi says this Parashat, this Bashi, Kachet Aaron, Parashatu, Nemra, Pasuk Bet. Shiv'at Yomim Kodem Hakamat HaMishkan, Shem Mukhtar Mukhar BeTorah. This Parashat was said 7 days before the Mishkan, This is 7 days before Hakamat Mishkan that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Aharon that you should prepare yourself, your children, and the Tamidrash. In other words, it was 7 days of training, Miluim, from 23rd of Adar till Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now, by that Rashi Moshe Lemor. Therefore, this parasha really is the end of the Mishkan in Parashat Shemot. Rashi said that this belongs to this because El Muqdam, in other words, what is the concept in Torah? El Muqdam Mukhar Torah means Torah, the order of Torah is not the historian order. Why? Because for a simple reason. Because Torah is not a history book. Torah is Torah. The order of Torah is to teach us something. It's not the order that the history has. Therefore, here, somehow Torah saw that's better that this person should be here. Even though at the beginning of Vayichra, we talked about Vayichra as if the time everything's done, but somehow the Chokhmah is that this should be Chokhmah Torah. Therefore, Torah doesn't follow historian fact. Torah follows whatever that he wants to teach us. Now, here is the 23rd of Adar, that in 7 days of Milui. Now, what should you do? Take Aharon and his children with him, with Habigadim, and the clothing, with Shemen HaMishcha, and the oil of atonement, with Parachatot, and the cow ball of Chatot, sin offering, and 2 rams, with Sal HaMatzot, and the basket of the Matzot. With Kol HaEdah HaGel, and you should assemble all of the, gather everybody, El Petach Kohemet V'Adam. Even though Rashi says, Ze Echad Min HaKomot She'echzir Muat Et HaMeruba, that's one place, that small place contained a lot of people. Vayas Moshe Kasher Tziva Hashem Oto, Moshe did, Vatiqah El HaEdah, and gathered all of the assembly in front of Petach Kohemet, where Moshe El HaEdah, and Moshe told to the assembly, Ze Hadav Hashem Tziva Hashem Lasot. This is the thing that Hashem told to do. In other words, whatever that I'm doing, it's not for my family, it's not for my brother. Rashi said, Hashem told me to do. ואל תאמרו לכבודי ולכבוד אחי אני עושה. כל העניין הזה, זה פרשת המילואים, פרשתם, וירא משה את אהרון את בניו, משה brought אהרון בניו, וילכס אותם במים, he washed them with water, washed them, immersed them in mikveh. First they go to mikveh. There is a concept of mikveh. Everybody says, what's mikveh? On Fridays it's good to go to mikveh, a person could do. Why? Because Mekubalim say, before creation of the world, all of the world was water, right? My mind was. No, the concept of the mikveh, Arba'im Sa'ah mikveh is, there's a connection between this water and water before creation. Person goes inside and comes new beria out. A person has anger, has taira, has things. Person is mechaven to go and come up fresh. Because as if he was put in the parasha of Bereshit. It's very, in other words, the Hasidim say a very interesting point. Hasidim say the sadness is not the greatest avera in Torah, but what sadness does to a person, non-avera does. Mikveh is not the greatest mitzvah in Torah, but what mikveh does to a person, non-mitzvah do. Therefore, it's a great thing. The person could go to mikveh to be mekadosh himself. It's like the anger. A person puts the anger in mikveh. Whatever that is, he puts it in mikveh and comes out. Alav et hakutunot. Now, they go to mikveh, and then he puts on him the kutunot, the tunic, the undershirt, and he girded it with the avnet, with the belt, in other words, kamarband shulmande, and he puts the robe, me'il, that the blue one, that was mechaper on Lashon Hara, and he puts on that ephod is mechaper on Avodah Zarah, and girded it with the chesed, with the belt of ephod, and he feeded it to him. Alav et hachoshen, and he puts the breastplate. Breastplate is mechaper on mishpat, judgment. And he put the urim v'tumim, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu inside, that it would light up whenever that they had to question. And he put the turban, the hat on his head. And he put the misnefet on mulpanav, etzis hazahav, the head plate of the gold, nezer kodesh, sacred crown, kashetzu Hashem and Moshe. And Moshe gets Shemen HaMishcha, the oil of atonement and anointment, וימשך את המשכן, and he anointed the Mishkan, and whatever that's it, ויקדש אותם, and made them holy with the שמן. ויעש ממנו על המזבח, and he sprinkles from it on the מזבח, 7 פעמים, 7 times, וימשך את המזבח, and he anointed the מזבח with כל כליו of the vessels, cure the laver, the washing thing, with can and space, לקדשם, to make them holy. ויצוק, and he poured from the oil of the anointment on the head of the Aharon, and anointed him, לקדשו, to sanctify him. ויקרא משה את בני אהרון, and he brought the בני אהרון, and he dressed them, כותונות, and tunics, ויחקור אותם אבנט, and he girded them with the belt, and he ויחבוש, and he put on them, bounded on them מקבעות, high turbans, כאשר ציווה השם בדוזון, ויגש את פר החטאת, he brought the par of חטאת, ויסמוך אהרון מנו with them, and Aaron's children, they put their hands on it, arosh par החטאת, and push החטאת. Now, leaning on it means that this is symbolic that you put all of your averot, all of your impurity on the cow, and it goes. In other words, the concept of departure. In other words, the person has some animalistic characteristics, or something is not good, he feels that's part of him. Now, Torah didn't say just put your hand on it. Ismach means semicha. If they pull it away, it would fall. Now, why should they push so much and to lean on it so much? Because it's beaming. You should put all of your avirot, all of the things on it. That the concept of departure is very important. That this not me, it's not part of me. I'm departing from these things. Vayishchat vayikach Moshe, and they shecht it, and Moshe would take the blood. Blood is symbolic of life, and put it on Aaron Mizbeach, so it's well. Mizbeach Aaron with his finger, vayichat et Mizbeach, and he purified the Mizbeach with Hadam, and the blood would pour on the bases of the Mizbeach. There are two concepts: sprinkling on the horn of the Mizbeach and pouring the blood on the Yesod, the base of the Mizbeach. To atonement on it. And he put the fat and that on the innards and diaphragm with the kavod, with the liver, and 2 kidneys and their fat, and it would cause them smoke on the Mizbeach with par of oro, the ball, and his hide, the skin, with bisaro, flesh, with pirsho, waste. It burns them michutz lamachane, out of the mechane. Some part of the korban he would take out of the campus and he would burn it. Now the idea is, sometimes, like Rambam says, somebody who gambles, and he was a gambler, he wants to do teshuvah, he doesn't do it anymore, but he keeps the dice. It's not a teshuvah. When the teshuvah is the real teshuvah, when he breaks the dice, when he gets rid of it. Here also, part of the korban, they bury it out of the machane. Now that was the concept of departure start, and then said that it's part, it's not on Mizbeach. It's part of the machane, buried someplace. Therefore, it's not part of. Like Rambam says, he has to remove. Somebody who keeps it in the back of his mind says, I might go to him. It's not a complete teshuvah. Complete teshuvah is total departure. Just like here, we take it out of the machane, chutz machane, and bury it. And that's very important. Once a person inserts these ideas inside, it becomes real. And he brought the ram of the Olah, Urban Olah, burn offering. And again, lean Aharon the hand on the Rosh HaOil, on the head of the ram. And Moshe threw the blood on Mizbeach Aaron, and the ram got cut into pieces and caused this smoke on the Rosh, the head, the Tanetachim, and the parts, and the powder is the fat. The fat that they covered with a shechita, because the shechita should be open, is not covered for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. With a innards, with kra'im, and the feet, washed with the water. These are dirty. It's not covered to be makrivid like that. You wash them. Vayakter Moshe, and he caused to smoke the kol ha'ayir ram, and mizbeach olahu, l'riyach nichov ezorah, l'riyach nichov. That's the smell of satisfying Ishehu Hashem, fire offering to Hashem, Kashet to Hashem, which like Hashem commanded Moshe. Vayachlevet ha'ayil brought the ayil Hashem second El Hamiloim. Now, very interesting. So far it was Chatat and Olah. Now we have a special ayil of Miloim in agoration, means training El. Training ram, ram of training ram, it means training ram. Vayisbechu Aharon banav yadeh, and Aaron's children, they put their hands on the Rosh HaAyil, this training ayil, this to this. Vayishcha God is a shalshel. It's a very interesting. Zarga comes sometimes in Torah. It's a chain, like chet vayishchat. That's specific also. There is good vayishchat. It's a shalshel. It's a chain. No, he does shechita. Vayikach Moshe midama and takes from his blood. Vayitin al tenuch ozen Aharon haymani, and he puts on the middle part of the right ear of the ear of Aharon. Haymanit, right one, Valbuhen Yoda Haymanit, and the thumb, right thumb of his hand, the right one, and on the big toe of his foot, the right one. Between Aaron, brings between Aaron and Moshe min Adam, and Moshe gives from the dome, al tenuch uzram. That was Aharon. Moshe put on the Aaron, and then between Aaron brings between Aaron, Moshe again. Moshe puts min Adam from the dome on the middle of the ozen, the ears, right one, and the thumb of the hand, right one, and the big toe of the feet, the right one. And the rest of the dome he puts on Mizbeach Saviv, and he takes the fat, the tail, and the fat that was on the inners, and diaphragm with the kaved, diaphragm with the liver, and 2 kidneys and their fats, and the right thigh, and from Sar Matzot, he would take chala matzah achad, 1 chala matzah, v'chalat lechem, and 1 chala lechem, shemen achad, shemen chalat lechem, smeared with the oily, achad, v'raqiq echad, and the wafer 1, and vayosim al achalav v'tusanim v'al shuagamin, he put it on the halavim fats on the right thigh, and put all of the al kapi Aaron on the hand palm of the Aharon, palm of the Bana children, and they wave them to the Lifnei Hashem. Moshe otam al kapim, and Moshe takes from the kapim, and he smokes on the Mizbeach al ha'olam, on the olah miluyim, al ha'olam miluyim hen, they are training korban, inauguration offerings, for an aroma of satisfying Yishtehu Hashem. And Moshe takes the priest and the shvevi tenuva lifnei Hashem me'el hamiluim, from the ram of the training. Le Moshe haya lemana, it was Moshe mana portion. Kashis Hashem et Moshe. Very good. Now, what's the idea over here? This el is very interesting. El, the ram of miluim training. First of all, they take it and they put it on middle of the ear and bohen and thumb and big toe. Now, what's the idea of that? The Farshim say, in this world, we have 3 olamot. Very interesting ideas, that the way that they brought the ideas with Korbanot. Now, what are the 3 olamot that we have? One olam, we have olam of malachim, spiritual olam, malachim. One olam of Galgalim, heaven, stars, sun and moon, and one olam that we live here. There are 3 olamot. Now, a lot of religions that we have, they worship their God contrasted to one olam. They say they care only for heavens. They do just for heavens. They don't care for anything else. Some, they just care for shamayim. Malachim, some just care for the mazalot and the star and kochavim. Some, they just care here. They don't care for other places. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Kohanim, you are miluim, you are being trained. What's your training process? We have to know that Torah cares for all of 3 olamot. We need to work on all of them. That's why the blood comes on the ear. It is olam of the Elyon, head. Head signifies olam of the Malachim. Then we put on the hand, which is the middle of the body, and he does whatever, and that's the olam of the heavens, stars and kochavim, and bohen and big toe is the olam of shefalim. We have to work all the way through. Means this word, materialistic word. You have to work all of it. So that the professor, that somebody started, professor of ethics, and he was teaching for 40 years, and once he saw that he did something ethically wasn't right, he told him, my master, you taught me for many years not to do that. It was by my teaching, that doesn't have to do my life. Here, Kohanim are being trained that you are not just your mind in the Bet HaMikdash, and you're dealing with people, it's whatever that you want. You're dealing with eating, with anything that you do. It has to be special. A Ben Torah, somebody who wants to be shaykhut to Torah, you cannot just that, on mind I learn Torah, but I do business the way that I want. I'm with my wife the way that I want. I treat my children the way that I want. No, it doesn't work like that. We need to train you in all of these three olamot. Behind this, and that all the idea of training over here is to bring out this point that you have to coordinate everything together. That's the training that Moshe Rabbeinu gave to Aharon and his children, and that's the foundation of making them into a Kohen. You want to become...
Who?
What?
What is that?
Vehechazeh means the priest and the waving. They wave the priest and the shokem. Vayikach Moshe mishemen hamishcha, and Moshe took from the shemen of anointment, umin hadam, from the blood asher hamizbeach, and also on the mizbeach, vayaz al Aharon al bagadav, and he sprinkled on the Aharon and his garments, and on his children, and the garment of his children with him, vayikadesh Aharon al bagadav, and he sacrificed Aharon and his begadim, with Bana, with Beit Bana Bito, and his children, and the begadim of his children with it. Vayomer Moshe Aharon Banav, and Moshe told Aharon's children, Bashu et basar, petach ohel moed. You should cook the meat in entrance of the ohel moed. V'sham tochelu oto, and over there should eat it. V'et halechem asher besaram aliyim emloim, and the bread that's in the basket of the training offerings, kasher tziveti lemor, as I told you, Aharon Banav yochluhu. Aharon Banav should eat it. V'hanotu ababasar v'alechem, and whatever that remains from the basar and lechem, basar and lechem, they have the same thing. If the zeman passes by and they don't eat it, they should burn it.
Only from the cook, not from the on the mizbeach.
No, only from the cook.
So why is that significant?
Mibetach ohel moed. Now, from the petach of ohel moed, lo tesu shivat yomim. From the petach, the entrance of ohel moed, you should not go away 7 days. At yom melot yemei miluechem. Until the day finishing the days of your inauguration, means training. Kishivat yomim, because 7 days, yemale et yedechem. You shall be inaugurated. Means you should be training. Therefore, there were 7 days from Chav Gimel Adar till Rosh Chodesh Nisan that every day Moshe Rabbeinu assembled and unassembled. It's very interesting. They say, when did you do that? Now we're going to see that Kasher Asla Vayom Hazeh, whatever that you do in these days, Siva Hashem La'asol Lechapra Alechem. Hashem commanded you should do Lechapra Alechem. Now, Torah says that 7 days, day and night, you should not remove, you should be sitting there and you should not go out. Now, unfortunately, what does it mean? He had to assemble and unassemble the Mishkan every day from 7 days, and they had to be there day and night. Therefore, what happens here? Some before him say on Amud Hashacha, he unassembled them and assembled them. Before Amud Hashacha, after Amud Hashacha. In other words, it didn't take that long. It's very interesting that all of the things he did in a very short time. No. The thing is that Torah says, whatever that you do in the day, you should do it. Now Rashi says, Siva Hashem la'asot kushvat yamim, Rabbatei Darshu la'asot ze ma'aseh para, lechabes ze ma'aseh Yom Kippurim. וללמד שכהן גדול טעון פרישה קודם יום כיפורים, שבעת ימים וכן הכהן הסוהר בתפרה. Now from this passage, Siva Hashem says, Siva Hashem la'asot lechaper. La'asot means para. Lechaper means Yom Kippur. Just like by beginning of the Mishkan. 7 days were Miluim, and they had to train themselves for Yom Kippur. Also, Kohen Gadol, they had mentioned Yuma. Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, 7 days before, he has to get separated and train himself for all of the Avodah, and 7 days for Para. We learn from this passage, La'asol lechapra alechem. Therefore, there's 7 days that they do from this passage, right? Now, these 7 days, they were Miluim, and Moshe trained them from the Kedusha, Tahara, and taught them how do they behave and bring all of the Korbanot. La'upetach ohel moed teshvu shiyomam v'layla shivat yomim u'shmartem et ha'mishperet Hashem l'to'amutu ki chen suveti. And from the entrance of ohel moed teshvu, they should sit down, yom v'layla shivat yomim. Over there it says lo tetzu, don't go out, and it says teshvu, you should dwell. U'shmartem et ha'mishperet Hashem, and you should dwell l'to'amutu shivat ki chen suveti. Because I was commanded like that. Now what does it mean? 7 days they should not go out. What does day and night mean? Now there is a machloket here. Some Mefarshim say, the apostle says, they cried for Moshe Rabbeinu 30 days. What does it mean they cried 30 days? Does it mean that every second they cry? Doesn't mean that every second they cry. But it means to say, some say it means to say that they were crying, that they didn't depart from crying to do some type of business for a long, long time. In other words, doesn't mean that they were crying 30 days, day and night, every second. But they didn't get involved in something else that would be interrupted in their crying. Here also, they shouldn't make an interruption. They should be day and night. By Ohel Moed, they should not go out. But Ramban learns that no, only at time of Avodah, they couldn't go out. While it was in Avodah, it was possible for them to go out, and they could have gone out. Vayas Aharon banav et kol hadevarim asher tzva Hashem b'yad Moshe. Aharon and his children, they did whatever that Hashem commanded in the b'yad Moshe, they did. Therefore, here at the end of the parasha talks about the 7 days. They did the miluim and everything, and everybody was ready to go to 7 days. Vayibay Mashemini. Now it's very interesting midrash I want to share with you. Now there's the midrash Tanchuma. The midrash Tanchuma says, what is 7 days? What is the 7 days? And the 8th day is Miluim. You know, on the 8th day, what happens? The children of Aharon died. Now we know that there is a Avelut, 7 days of Avelut. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that when I brought the Mabul in the world, I brought the Mabul after Shiva Yamim he brought the Mabul, the Pasuk says. No, the Madrash says, why did it says Vayim Mabul after Shiva Yamim? After 7 days there was a Mabul. The Midrash says HaKadosh Baruch Hu sat 7 days Avelut for the Mabul, for the dead bodies, because of the people were killed, dead bodies, they need Avelut. Now the Midrash asks, how come? Doesn't make sense. The Avelut is after the death, not before the death. Here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sat Avelut 7 days before the Mabul. After 7 days, he brought the Mabul. If it is Avelut should be after the Mabul, not before the Mabul. Here, the 7 days are before the Mabul. No, the Midrash answered, that's for human beings, that they don't know what's going to happen. If they have to wait till it happens, then they do Avelut. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he knows when a person dies, therefore he makes the Avelut before it happens. No, just like over there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Avelut 7 days before Mabul happens. Here also, 7 days that he says don't go out has the halach of mourner. Mourner for whom? For children of Aaron, that they're going to die on 8th day. There is an Avelut before the death, just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu had Avelut before the Mabul. Because Hashem knows, we don't know. We have to meet Abel after. But the real Avelut is before, if you know that's going to die. Now what's Pshat? What's Pshat? In other words, it's very interesting that the Midrash says it's before, it's after. But the point of the Midrash, whatever that the point is, that the Avelut, in other words, what's the concept of Avelut? The Goyim have Avelut, they eat up themselves. Because it's something that happens after death. You don't know how to do, it seems that it's helpless. He puts sometimes, razor on their head, they bring blood, they eat themselves, they pull out the hair. Torah says all of these things are asur. In other words, the concept of Avelut is not because after the death you want to eat up yourself. Torah says to be a mourner. If you really knew that you would die, even beforehand you do Avelut. Now, what's the Avelut? Avelut is fixing up whatever that's going to happen. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, those 7 days of Mabul, he sat down and made a plan how the world could be Mekuyam after Mabul. Therefore, if this concept of Avelut is fixing up and making it, when should you do it? You should do it right before. Right? But Adam doesn't know, he does it after. All of the concept of Avelut, Rambam says, is Teshuvah. To understand the Avelut happens because of consequences of the Chet, that the person dies. Because of the death, because of the sin, there is a death. There is an Avelut. We want to fix it up. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he knows he fixed up before. Therefore, 7 days before Mabul, what did Hashem do? He created a plan that the world should exist even after the Mabul, could continue and bring out that shortcome, to fix up that shortcome. Here also, the 7 days of the Miluim is a type of training that they should be trained. Even such a tragedy happens in shortcoming in Kahal Israel, that should withhold, should continue, should make it up, fix it up. That's why it's a very interesting idea that these 7 days are the 7 days of Miluim. B'ezrat Hashem, should have a happy Shabbat and enjoy your Shabbat.